Hello everyone and welcome to our Effortless Success in Your Portable Career and Business Summit. This is Dominika Miernik, your host, and I have a very special guest today, Rachel Smets, a best-selling author, twice TEDx speaker, professor, cultural trainer and coach. She is also a long-term expat. Rachel has lived in several countries and now she's helping new expats to take all the overwhelm when they are moving abroad, they are adapting to life abroad, so they can live a very successful international life and have the best of their experience. Hello, Rachel. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Dominika. Thank you for your great introduction and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you and to interview you.
Thank you so much. We're here to help everyone, so let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us more about you, about your international experience, how it started, about your work, what are you doing, about your business. Tell us more.
Okay, sure. Yes, I fit into your summit because I have been living and moving abroad for the past 15 years. So portable, yeah. Although I've had many different types of jobs. So I've been living in different countries. I speak 6 different languages, and well, we can go into that a bit later. And what I do now is because I really learned how to adjust to a new country faster and faster and faster. You know, the very first time everything is overwhelming and stressful, and you know what you pack and what you take, and you know you feel lonely and homesick. And I've been through all of that, and it can take a very long time. But every time I moved, I learned so many tips and tricks that now, you know, like actually literally right now I'm in Switzerland. I've been here for 4 weeks, and you know, I'm invited for a birthday party this evening at a neighbor's house and in the street, and made some friends, and it just goes so much faster. So that's exactly how I want to help people. Like, don't spend a year abroad, you know, feeling miserable or taking your time to adjust, because it's not worth it. It's such a great experience to be abroad. You know that yourself, and to experience all these cultures, these traditions, these new people, new challenges, and it's just such a great experience. So it should be fun, and I want people to find it fun no matter what you do. Okay, you know, you need to work and everything, but it shouldn't be, you know, a disappointment. It should be really fun. So I really help people with that. Another thing I help a lot with is because of my cultural expertise, I train a lot of people with cultural differences, and that is really more specifically for people doing business with other cultures. So it could be in the same country, it could be abroad, but if you know about cultural differences and how to adapt to a certain culture, you can make and do business much easier. So those are the things that I do, besides speaking and writing books and doing other things, but those are the main things that I do.
Great. You are doing a lot of things, and you speak 6 languages. So well done. Well done for everything. So, like, based on your own experience as an expat woman, and also like working with expats and international business owners. So, what are like the biggest mistakes that people are making while settling down in a new country?
Yeah, I don't really like the word mistake, because mistakes are there to learn from. So it's all kind of learning experiences, I would say, and it's not a bad thing to make a mistake. So let's just make sure it's not a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the most common thing that expats encounter, and it's also the biggest tip that every single expat has given me, like when I ask, like, what are your top 3 tips? Then they always say, learn the language. Learn the language. If you go to a country where, you know, English is not the native language, then it's so difficult sometimes to adjust and to adapt and to get things done if you don't speak the language. And learning a language is something that you can prepare well in advance. You know, when you're still in your home country, you know you're going to move. I'm not saying you have to be fluent in a language. I never did that. But when I mean, my very first move was to Spain. So I knew that, like 3 months ahead, I started, you know, looking at vocabulary, like really spending my time learning a lot of vocabulary and verbs. I had no idea how to really do the grammar and stuff, but I thought, you know, if I know some words, I can, you know, construct some phrases, and then I'll just, so I could actually have some basic conversation before I left. Once
Mhm.
you're there, you talk to the locals and you adjust and you hear it much better and it's easier to learn. But if you don't have any basics, it's really hard. So learning a language, but the one word I said, and that's really the biggest mistake I would say, is that people are not prepared. A lot of people are still thinking, oh, life abroad, it's really cool. And I love that country because I've been going on holiday there for the past 10 years. It's not a holiday. If you live abroad, it is so different. It's not a hotel where they do your wash and your sheets and your towels and you sit at a table and they bring you food. No, you have to go to the grocery market. You have to know your way around. You have to stay there. And another thing is you are away from your family and friends. So it's something to realize and to be prepared for. And there are a lot of things, okay, that you can really, really prepare for. So the biggest mistake I would say is that people go that are not enough prepared.
Mhm.
That pack your bags and go, and then maybe some people don't even have a job. They don't even know how, they'll get income. And then they're surprised that it's difficult. But hold on a second. If you need a job in your own native country, is that so easy? It's not easier abroad, So being prepared, like what are you going to do? Where are you going to live? How are you going to get some income? Are you going to rent? Are you going to buy? How long are you going to stay? All of these things. What are you going to do with the house or the apartment back in your house? Paperwork, insurances. There's a lot of things to think about. And that's also why I wrote a book. Like, there's so many things to think about. And that's good if you do that in advance so that you don't have big surprises when you get there. So I would say preparation is key.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, so I like that you said that there are no mistakes. That mistakes that all mistakes are like learning points. That you can always learn something from doing mistakes or not having like enough preparation, or for example not knowing the language. And that like moving abroad, it's not a holiday, because yeah, a lot of people are thinking, okay, so I'm going to move, for example, to France for a few months, but it's not a holiday. It's like living abroad. So you have to prepare yourself and take steps before moving there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, now we are moving in November to France. So I don't speak French. I have like a basic knowledge of French, but I am like learning, reading, even if I don't read in French. So I am just reading and preparing myself
Good.
to speak. Yeah. So taking those steps. Yeah.
Very good.
So I know that like one of your expertise is working with single expats. So single expat, I think it can be even more challenging if you are moving alone abroad and you are dealing like with homesickness and with loneliness and with other like challenges. So how to avoid those challenges as a single expat?
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's really who I like to work with, those single expats. And it's actually nice to hear from you that you're saying, it's even more challenging. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of discussions like, is it easier when you're single or is it easier when you have a family, and husband or a wife and kids or no kids? But anyway, a partner. There's a lot of discussion on that, and I'm not going to go into that discussion, but the thing is, when you're single, you have to make every single decision alone. Where are you going to live? You unpack your boxes at the same time. I've done it over and over again as a single person, and I'm sitting there with all my boxes. There's a moving company coming. There's a guy for the electricity and the internet installation coming. But at the same time, I need to work. I need to get some income, and you're all alone to do everything. Whereas when there's two of you, it's like, oh, can you stay home and get that guy in, and I'll be working, and when I come home I can do that, and you can, and making decisions together. It's sometimes, so yeah, it has. On the other hand, being single gives you the entire freedom that you can make your own choices. So yes, you have to make all the decisions yourself, which sometimes is not so easy, but you also get to make all of the choices. So I always try to see for the positives. I always think like, oh, do I want a relationship? I don't know. I'm very free. I'm very, I can make my choices and leave whenever I want. So it has its advantages. I think it also comes down like really well preparation. You know, whether you're single or not, you really have to prepare yourself very well.
Yeah. So once again, like being prepared and taking action. And like, what about, because sometimes, for example, when you are living abroad, you are starting a business, or you are, for example, looking for a job, or you have a career, so you are dealing with a different culture. So and sometimes you can have a lot of misunderstanding. So how to avoid those intercultural understanding?
Yeah.
As a business
Very,
owner, for
very
example.
important. Yeah, and that's where that's why I teach cultural competence. You know, the real world is become culturally competent, and that can be done very easily. You know, because every country is different, every culture is different, like you said. And if you know just a few things, then you can adapt much easier, especially in your working relationship. Whether you are working in an office or working with colleagues or doing business with other cultures abroad. If you know that, for example, in Asia, let's say India, China, they're very much relationship oriented. So the family, the team is much more important than, you know, a task oriented culture. So Germany, for example, Switzerland, they're very much like, okay, this is the job needs to get done. You know, whether it's you or somebody else, you know, you have to get the job done. So the focus is all about the task, not so much about the relationship. What this means is that if you do business with an Asian culture, you may want to spend some time getting to know the other person, building a relationship. You know, if you are abroad, people usually like to have a little lunch or a dinner, or, you know, spend some time and then start talking about work and business and jobs. Whereas in a lot of European countries and also America, it's more like, okay, you know, even if I don't, you know, I've never seen you before, Dominica, you know, and we have a project to do and we have business to do, okay, well, let's get down to business. I'm not saying there are exceptions, okay? There's always dinners everywhere, lunches everywhere, but, you know, those are the main things. Another big thing is, you know, individualism and collectivism. You know, we are very individualistic. A lot of European countries are like, you know, it's all about me. I'm responsible for my own life, you know, and I need to achieve my goal. And hey, there's a trophy, employee of the month, you know, things like that. It's all about me. Whereas again, in a lot of Asian countries, it's more collectivism. So it's more important to do something together with the team. So the focus would be more on the group, on the team. Again, family is very important. Or, you know, the thing that is most frustrating, what I hear all the time with business, is that we, in a lot of European countries and America, you know, a deal is a deal. You say yes, and it's yes. Can you do this project? Yes. Can you not? No. So it's yes or it's no. In India, I do a lot of business with India. So they are really a culture that likes harmony, and they don't want to confront you with a no. So for them, even though they will not make it, they will not reach the deadline, they will never say no. Because that's too, like, ooh, they don't want any conflict. It's their culture, it's in their nature. They just cannot say no. So they will say yes. But if an Indian person says yes to you, it can mean 5 different things, you know? Yes, I will do it. No, I can't. Yes, I will try. Yes, maybe. You know, it can have all these different meanings. So knowing these subtle differences, and again, with our global world now, there's a lot of, I'm not saying that all, you know, a lot of Indian people that I know are working internationally all the time. So they learn these things, and, you know, they're adjusting as well. But it's just knowing these things, you know, knowing that if you do business with a Chinese or an Indian, that, you know, it is important to build a relationship with them, you know, no matter what, they will appreciate it. Or talk a little bit about, you know, in their own language, you know, like Chinese is now really hard, but it doesn't matter what country, but a few words in the language, you know, it really helps making a good connection and just, you know, adjusting more to the culture. And then you will avoid a lot of misunderstanding if you know how to communicate well. And I guess the last tip I want to give, because I have a whole sheet full of, you know, tips for doing international business as well, but and culturally competence, but you know, be patient. I would say that's the biggest one. Be patient, because you may think like, oh, come on, we have a deadline to reach and we need to do this work and blah, 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 blah. But maybe the other culture is not like that. And you have to have patience. Or maybe the other person is not talking English fluently, which sometimes can, for some people, be so frustrating. Like, oh, come on, just say it, But it's not always that easy. So, language barriers and misunderstandings. So try to be patient is definitely the way to go.
And like those tips we can also apply when dealing with people online, because now we have like a lot of possibilities to communicate, to do business, or even have a portable career online. So we can apply the same tips.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what, when I say I work with Indian people all the time, I'm not there in India. No, I do everything online, So I even give webinars and trainings in cultural competence. So no, it's definitely, I mean, the business, the day of today, it's just one click, and it just, things are like, if you are abroad with another culture, then you can actually go to dinner or lunch with another culture. But if you're dealing online, then comes, the patience, the knowing to build a relationship while talking, there's different things, but virtual or not, it really helps if you understand a little bit more about the culture.
Yes, so like how much time in advance should I, or it's the best in your experience to prepare myself for my move abroad? Like, for example, a few months, a month, or like one year. So how much time in advance should I prepare myself to have like a successful...
I can take you as an example, Dominika, because the thing is that it's very, very, I mean, I have a different approach. I don't have one approach for everyone, because it's so different. Is it the first time that you move? Is it, are you used to it? Like for you, is it a country that is completely different? Or is it a country which is, a little bit like you are going from Italy to France, there are similarities. So it really depends. So for you, I would say, you are used to living abroad, you move to other countries, the country you're moving into is not so far. I would definitely say, well, learn the language. And when you say prepare, again, that depends. Like one person will say, oh, I need a whole year, because maybe they'll do one thing once a week. Whereas, learning a language, if you do 1 hour every day or 1 hour every week, you may get that, you may know a lot of French in 3 months, but another person may need a whole year. Anyway, I think in general, I would say, 6 months is great if you have the time. And that is if you're going to go and move for really a longer period. Of course, now there are people moving like, okay, I'm moving in a few months and I'm just staying there for 3 or 6 months, So it also depends how long you will be staying. But for you, I would say, every day, focus on your vocabulary, grammar, try to have a look at, where is the region you're moving into. I've also lived in France, so I know how important French is, because I speak French fluently, but even they see me as a foreigner, because they hear right away that you're not a real French. So building relationship with the French is very hard, as well in business as personally. And they're very, I would say, I don't know if close is not the right word, but they have their own relationships, and they're not so open to, to invite new relationships. So I remember before I moved to France, somebody said, you know what, Rachel, if you're invited for coffee through a French, you can be very happy, because that means they actually accept you. So I was like talking to people, meeting people, doing all the best I can and everything, trying to build relationships. And then 3 months in France, 3 months, somebody said, oh, you want to come over for coffee? And I was like, yay! Yeah, it's really not, and in business too, I went to certain, I was a commercial sales manager back then, and I went to some people over and over and over again, and it's still, they address you very formally, like even my neighbor, after a year, it was vous, in French, the formal way of you is vous. And even though I said, I'm Rachel, I'm living here, we're seeing each other every day in the stairways, I mean, just please say informally, hey, Rachel, or something. No. So yeah, they're not the easiest, but yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful country though.
Yeah. So thank you. So we can do another interview about living and living in France, and about the French culture. Yeah. So we spoke a little bit about it, but like based on your experience, so what are like your main tips to settle abroad and feel like at home, and how to make this transition like effortless for you. Yeah.
I would say, well, preparation is key, okay? But let's say then you arrived in a new country and you really want to feel home and settle in. Then there's, I guess, I would say 4 main blocks of things you can do is, first of all, make your home feel like home, like decorate it, hang some pictures of your family or friends, or make it, or take your favorite teddy bear or favorite pillow or blanket, or just have these little touches within the place that you live, apartment, house, no matter what, but make sure it feels like, this is my place, because that's the place you come home to every single day. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and the biggest thing is, get out and meet people, get out and do the things that make you feel good, that give you energy. What are your hobbies? What are your hobbies that you did back home? Do that in the foreign country. For me, I love sports. I really love sports. I need to exercise. So I do that, wherever I live. The first thing I do is I go and find a gym. It doesn't have to be a gym. It could be a painting class, walking, singing. A lot of people sing or play music or things like that, but find your hobby, the thing that you love, the thing that gives you energy. And why is that so important? 1, it gives you something to do. 2, it gives you energy and it's what you like. 3, it gives you the greatest opportunity to meet people, because you meet people that are doing the same thing that you like. So you have a common ground. So meeting people and, building your network, that's definitely a big, big thing. And then third, I would say your mindset. Like there are going to be days that you think, what am I doing here? That everything just feels heavy on you, and that you just think, why me? Realize that you're not alone. Realize that you have to stay positive, because it's a life experience that many people are jealous of. So be open-minded and don't see things as different, but see things as new challenges and new experiences. And because in one of my speeches I say, everything looks different, right? The streets look different, the signs, the cars, the people, everything is strange, everything is foreign. The reality is there is nothing different. You are different. You are the newbie there. You, nothing else. All the rest, houses, architecture and street signs, everything's been there, for so long. But you have to adapt. And if you stay open-minded for that and accept that, then that is a great thing. And then the fourth and the last one is, have some cultural, I would say cultural training. You could, talk to a coach like me or a trainer like me, or take a class, or just do your research online, and learn a little bit more about the culture. Because then you can learn more about the traditions and the events. But settling in is all about, you have to feel good there. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and it's actually really easy.
Great. So thank you very much for sharing your experience, all those tips about how we can move and live abroad effortlessly. So tell us more, where can we find information about you? And I also know that you have a fantastic gift for our listeners. So tell us more.
Yes, and I just finished it and I'm just launching it. So this is like amazing. Well, first of all, my website, it's just my name, Rachel Smets. Everything together, no dots, nothing, rachelsmets.com. RACHELSMETS.com. And you can find me there. You can find me all over social media, always, just Rachel Smets. But what I created is a free video course on how to settle in abroad. So what I just mentioned very shortly, I created a 4-part, 4 video series actually, and you get it all for free. It's a whole package. All you need is just, click the link that I will give you, put your email address in there, and everything will just drop into your inbox. And I will talk more in detail about, how do you decorate your house, and how do you go out and, meet people, and how do you learn about the culture, and how do you keep an open mindset. And so I really hope that people can really enjoy their life abroad and make it a success.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel, for sharing that and for being with us today. And I wish you all the best for your new international experiences and your next TEDx talks, whatever you want.
Thank you so much for having me. And if any questions at all, then people can always contact me. I'm happy to help. So thank you. And you too. Very good luck, Dominika.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening and watching this interview. And let us know what are your learning points and what are you going to do to have a successful life abroad. Share your questions and comments in our Facebook group. Thank you very much. And I will be back soon. Bye.